for universal health coverage is being fulfilled.
A healthier nation, a brighter tomorrow. Thanks to Tinubu's vision for the health sector.
On Eagle Square this Monday, the issue of climate and environment will be in focus in view of the recent flooding that ravaged Mokwa in Niger State. How do we really give the reasons behind flooding in the country despite yearly predictions of the climatic conditions and weather patterns by the relevant agencies? This is why Kayode Oyebisi will engage the President, Association of Environmental Protection and Climate Change Practitioners, Air Vice Marshal Akube Iyamu retired, on Eagle Square to find out.
In Nigeria, we are seeing the significant parts of the climate change. The consequences are everywhere. We've seen it now in Mokwa, which was very devastating. We saw the flooding. The flooding in Mokwa brought out our nakedness that was not covered by any political.
7 in the evening, Eagle Square, where only the truth is good enough.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Thanks for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu has called on the media to champion the narrative that reflects the democratic gains of the country. He made a plea at the Nigerian Union of Journalists NUJ's 70th anniversary and book launch in Abuja. President Tinubu said through constructive engagement and vision of national cohesion, the country will be better for all. Correspondent Omale now reports.
The Nigerian Union of Journalists was founded 70 years ago to clamor for the welfare of its members. At the event, President Bola Tinubu said his administration was committed to upholding press freedom. President Tinubu, who was represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Malam Mohammed Idris, promised to support the media in enhancing their welfare and redefining the sector.
Stories of institutional reforms, infrastructural development, citizens' engagement, and social economic advancement. By constructively spotlighting these milestones,
the Minister of Information and National Orientation stated that President Tinubu's administration was partnering with UNESCO to establish Media Training Center in Abuja. The national president of NUJ, Comrade Alhassan Yahya, said the current leadership of the union will continue to engage policymakers on ways that would add values to the lives of Nigerians. Comrade Yahya appealed to employers of labor within the media industry to ensure adequate welfare to journalists working in their organizations.
particularly enhancing the safety and security of Nigerian journalists.
The reviewer of the book, entitled Bleeding Ink and Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umar Eno, urged the media professionals to reinvent journalism for modern trends. Represented by Mr. Ikena Umana, the governor promised continuous partnership with NUJ. In a paper presentation on prospects and problems of journalism practice in the age of artificial intelligence, a head of journalism department, Lagos State University, Professor Tunde Akani, called for legislation that will regulate cyberspace to avoid misinformation.
Make legislation that governs the use of digital technology in the media. The cybercrime prohibitions and objecting is duly repealed.
The chairman of the occasion, Dr. John Momo, called on journalists to continue to hold people in government accountable to their responsibility. Represented by Olaolu Akande, Special Assistant on Media and Communication to former Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, Dr. John Momo urged those in authority to place premium on journalists' welfare.
This highlights the importance of a free press to the democratic society. Jefferson's statement emphasizing the role of the press in holding those who are in power accountable and promoting transparency.
The theme of the event is celebrating 70 years of journalistic excellence and the future of Nigerian press. High point of the event was presentation of awards to distinguished Nigerians in Abuja. Omale, Radio Nigeria.
The Ministry of Youth Development has assumed management of the Agadagba Skill Acquisition Center in Odo local government area of Ondo State. This strategic takeover reaffirms the ministry's commitment to widening access to skills-based education and economic opportunities, particularly for young Nigerians in riverine and underserved communities. At the official handing-over ceremony in Abuja, the Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, unveiled plans to upgrade the center into a national youth camp with an expanded focus that will go beyond vocational training. Comrade Olawande also outlined the ministry's agenda to introduce modern vocational programs, enhance infrastructure, and deploy qualified professionals to ensure the center operates efficiently under its new broader mandate. The Minister of Regional Development, Mr. Bukar Momo, reaffirmed federal government's unwavering commitment to youth development and transforming the center into a vibrant hub for innovation, skills training, and entrepreneurship. Mr. Momo also disclosed that the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, along with other development partners, was expected to join the initiative. The Minister of Art, Culture and Tourism and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, has directed the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism, NIHOTA, to immediately suspend enforcement of its mandate nationwide. The minister gave the directive following the recent incident involving the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism during its national enforcement exercise in Lagos State. The decision was for a more inclusive, transparent, and consultative stakeholder engagement, which the minister will personally lead in the coming weeks. The minister called for calm and mutual understanding among all stakeholders. According to the minister, a multi-stakeholder roundtable will be convened to harmonize expectations, deepen collaboration, and reposition the industry for sustainable growth. She commended the Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria, FTAN, and other professional bodies for their steadfastness to advance in sectoral growth and reaffirmed her commitment to transform NIHOTA into a dynamic, responsible, and industry-aligned regulatory institution. In a decisive move to tackle rising insecurity, the Ondo State government has ratified the death penalty by hanging for individuals convicted of kidnapping. Additionally, any property used as a hideout or operational base for kidnappers will be demolished. The State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Kayode Ajulo, announced the measures during a news briefing in Akure, the state capital. Also, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Infrastructure, Lands and Housing, Mr. Abiola Olawumi, said the government had approved the construction of a dual carriageway in Okitipupa and Igbokoda. On the health front, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Professor Shimidele Odimayo, announced the establishment of a Lassa Fever Research and Control Center targeted at enhancing the prevention, control and treatment of the disease in the state. The Nigerian Army has urged troops deployed for peacekeeping missions to be good representatives of the country and ambassadors of peace. The Chief of Operations at the Army Headquarters, Major General Uwembasi, gave the charge while addressing troops of Nigerian Company 10 of the ECOWAS mission in Gambia, held at the Jaji Military Cantonment, Kaduna State. Correspondent Usman Sani completes the report.
Major General Uwembasi explained that over time, Nigeria has distinguished itself as a leader in the quest for peace, stability, and development within Africa and beyond. Represented by Major General Ishaya Maina, the Chief of Operations noted that Nigerian peacekeepers stood firm in defense of the oppressed, the vulnerable, and those caught in the crossfire of war.
Nigerian peacekeepers have repeatedly earned global citations and medals for leadership, bravery, and professional competence.
Major General Uwembasi noted that presently, Nigeria remains a pillar of international peace efforts, with its troops performing exceptionally well in the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, and Abyei in South Sudan. While acknowledging the relatively stable security situation in the Gambia, the Chief of Operations said there are ongoing challenges that require attention to ensure the safety and well-being of its citizens. In his address, Commandant of the Martin Luther Agway International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center, Major General Ademola Adedoja, disclosed that the troops went through a comprehensive medical screening in line with the Nigerian Army medical screening standards to assess their health status before the training. He added that emphasis was laid on conduct and discipline, Nigerian Army Doctrine on Peace Support Operations, sexual exploitation and abuse, as well as conflict-related sexual violence.
As you prepare to embark on this noble task, I must remind you that your responsibilities as peacekeepers extend far beyond the battlefield.
Major General Adeoja also charged the troops to uphold the highest standards of professionalism and avoid acts that could compromise their integrity or tarnish the image of Nigeria. High point of the event was a display by the troops as well as presentation of pre-deployment training certificate. A total of 197 troops successfully completed the pre-deployment training after undergoing a 5-week intensive training in Kaduna. Usman Sani, Radio Nigeria.
The Plateau State government has condemned the mob action of some miscreants that led to the death of some commuters in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. Governor Caleb Mutfwang made his feelings known when he visited some of the victims and the incident scene. Correspondent Stanley Hallon has details.
Despite efforts to foster peaceful coexistence, Plateau State faced a significant setback when miscreants attacked commuters traveling to Kwampan local government area for a wedding having taken a wrong turn. Briefing newsmen after visiting some of the survivors of the attack at the Mangu General Hospital and the site of the incident at Mangu District, Governor Caleb Mutfwang warned that the government will not condone any act of lawlessness.
This is totally unacceptable. Government will not sweep this under the carpet.
Mutfwang regretted that such unwarranted and unprovoked activities were coming at a time while government was working tirelessly to promote and maintain peace in the state. He noted that the unfortunate incident was also coming at a time when the government was working on being receptive to visitors and were doing everything possible towards educating youth on the need for all to respect that there must be right of passage in every road across the state.
We have been educating our youth that there must be right of passage in every road on the plateau. This therefore comes to us as a big shock, is an embarrassment.
Mutfwang therefore pledged to support survivors and ensure payment of their hospital bills in addition to ensuring a befitting burial for the deceased.
We will also ensure that those who died receive a decent burial. I therefore want to appeal for calm.
The State Commissioner of Police, Manuel Ajisina, gave a brief on what transpired, adding that some suspected culprits have been arrested in connection with the incident.
We have arrested 22 of the suspects. We have identified those that are actively involved in the unfortunate senseless killings, and we are going after them.
Preliminary reports confirmed that the victims, who were traveling from Zaria in Kaduna State and reached Kwampan local government area of Plateau State for a wedding, lost their way and inadvertently run into a tense and volatile situation in Mangun, a community grappling with sustained terrorist attacks where the tragic incident resulted in the loss of 8 lives, while several others sustained varying degrees of injuries and are currently receiving treatment at the General Hospital in Mangu. In Jos, Stanley Helen, Radio Nigeria.
The Nasarawa State government is to partner a private organization to procure waste compactors for Nasarawa State Waste Management and Sanitation Agency to convert waste to wealth. Governor Abdullahi solicited this when he hosted the managing director of the organization at the government house, Lafia, the state capital. Correspondent Dahiru Hassan completes the report.
Acknowledging the foresight of Dangote for expanding its scope to areas that include the manufacturing of garbage compactors that attracted the interest of Nasarawa state government, Governor Abdullahi Sule explained that the state is interested and welcomed the partnership with Dangote Group. Governor Sule, who commended the Dangote senior trucks for using compressed natural gas for compactors, noting that the move was geared towards ensuring safety of environment.
They need these compactors as quickly as possible. They need the trucks, and if that's the way to patronize you, so be it. We will be able to do that. And when you are out right now, you will see there is a first to be set up in the north central part of the country.
Expressing his organization's interest to collaborate with Nasarawa state government in the areas of waste disposal, Managing Director of Dangote Senior Trucks, Mr. Hikmat Tafa, explained that the company has years of experience in the manufacturing of heavy-duty equipments.
Especially we came in this mission for a supply of waste compactor to Nasarawa State. We want to be part of Clean Lafayette Nasarawa State.
Managing Director Nasarawa State Waste Management and Sanitation Agency, Mohammed Bello Isa, appreciated the collaboration which according to him was in line with the vision of Governor Abdullahi Sule towards effective waste management.
This collaboration is one of the things we pray long time ago, almost more than 6 to 7 months when I resumed office as DG Naswamsa. There is so many things that we need to do so that we can be able to keep the state clean, especially in terms of evacuation of our refugees and also compacting the rubber we have so that it can be used in one way or the other.
Mr. Bello Isa also added that the procurement of the waste compactors will enable his agency to effectively use the waste management facilities in Karu and Lafia local government areas of the state. In Lafia, Bahiru Hassan, Radio Nigeria.
You are listening to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. In the headlines, President Bola Tinubu urges media to promote democratic gains. Ondo State government ratifies death penalty for convicted kidnappers. Federal government tasks troops on peacekeeping missions to be good ambassadors. Still to come, callers and Radio Link advocate prompt settlement of claims by insurance companies. Plus, sports news, the spotlight, cyberscape, newspaper headlines, and weather report. Please stay with us.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Finally!
Finally what?
I've been trying to reach your phone for days.
Oh, so sorry. Telecommunication services have been very poor in my area lately. Some hoodlums vandalized the telecoms masts around here.
They tried it in my area, but guess what? Our people now protect the mast as if our lives depend on it.
Wise move. I must tell my husband to raise the issue at our community meeting so that we too can protect all our telecom masts.
Exactly. You see, when telecom masts and fiber cables are destroyed, every area of our life, from education to healthcare to banking operations and the entire economy, is affected. Vandalizing telecommunications infrastructure harms everyone. Dial 622 from any network or send an email to protect@ncc.gov.ng to report suspected cases of vandalism. This message is brought to you by mobile network operators and telcos in collaboration with the Nigerian Communications Commission.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Callers on Radio Link, a Radio Nigeria audience participatory program, have called on some insurance companies to clearly explain their policy terms and promptly settle claims to build trust. One of the callers, Mr. Emmanuel Eze from Abuja, expressed dissatisfaction with some insurance companies and suggested that they should always carry out thorough evaluation on items before insurance takes effect.
The vehicle you are insuring, they carry out evaluation test enough to know that vehicle should be insured. Is it building? Having many collapse building, especially in Lagos, how were they insured and what are the benefits? Or is it just monthly payment of that stipend? And at the end of the day, lives that were there are lost and no compensation. And giving us reasons why Nigerians are not interested in insurance.
Another caller from Imo State, Chief Fidel Oyeneke, said there was the need for intensified advocacy and community engagement to educate Nigerians on the importance of insurance.
People don't appreciate the importance of personal insurance. Because even when something affects them, they don't get any benefit. They are not being rewarded or paid what the premium or whatever they're supposed to get. I therefore want to suggest that government should encourage people, but first of all, insuring its workers, and then those in the private sector, there should be a law compelling them to also insure all their workers so that people will know benefits of insurance. Media houses that carry out very peculiar duties should also have insurance policies.
Also, Mr. Ismail Garba, who called from Gwagwalada, Abuja, advocated programs in local languages for rural dwellers.
The larger segment of our population in Nigeria that don't know about this insurance of the thing are much more than those that use it. Come out with programs that will address this kind of people that are left behind, so that we too that can be able to key into the insurance.
Responding to some of the callers, the Deputy Commissioner at the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, Mr. Ekirete Gamikon, who was a guest on the program, stressed the need for defined roles for intermediaries, insurance agents or brokers for proper guidance. The coordinator, PDP Support Group Crossover State Chapter, Prince Michael Ekamon, has commended the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for its interventions in the state, especially in the area of infrastructure development. At a news briefing in Abuja, Prince Ekamon lauded the past and present leaders of NDDC and their commitment towards fostering development in Crossover State.
We slept on the floor to form NDDC with the first commissioner from Cross River State, and he became the chairman of the committee that brought it. NDDC gave us everything. He kept in Cross River State all the goodness of NDDC.
The former special advisor to the president on Niger Delta matters, however, called for the resignation of the state governor, Prince Basi Otu, whom he alleged has failed to deliver the dividends of democracy, which had frustrated additional NDDC projects in the state. Prince Michael Ekamon also appealed to President Tinubu and the PDP hierarchy to intervene and save the state from total collapse. Meanwhile, the Crossover State government says its priority is to complete and revive existing projects from previous administrations, especially those that had consumed large sums of taxpayers' money but failed to deliver expected returns. The State Commissioner for Information, Dr. Erasmus Epang, stated this while interacting with journalists in Abuja. Dr. Epang noted that Cross River State was celebrated for its tourism potentials and beautiful natural environment, but in recent years suffered visible decline. He said one of the first moves by Governor Basi Otu was to recover state-owned assets such as Tinapa Business Resort, which had been taken over by the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, and the Obudu Cattle Ranch.
For instance, we had lost Tinapa to AMCOM, the Obudu Cattle Ranch was quiet, deep sea port, it was just like a joke. And then a lot of those lofty projects which our taxpayers' money has actually involved themselves, we want to recover most of our state assets. So we started with that, and then of course after that we now took up to soil mapping of Cross River State soils.
The Commissioner stressed that a cornerstone of the administration's policy thrust was agriculture due to the state's vast arable land and the urgent need for economic diversification in line with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
We have very robust agricultural policy. We are doing a 5,000 hectares wheat farm in Obanliku, all-season irrigation. We know how important wheat has actually gone up because of this Russian-Ukraine war, and we want to bring that in. And then, of course, the latest one that was going on here, we have the GRO farms collaborate with the state to give us coffee seedlings. We have seen that our soil can actually take coffee.
Dr. Epang noted that the initiative was designed to boost food production, promote agribusiness, and reduce dependency on federal allocations. And now, next is State House Diary.
This is State House Diary. It is a program that summarizes the salient of last week's big events at the State House, the seat of government. My name is Abdullah Bello. During the week, President Bola Tinubu convened a town hall meeting in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, to try to find a lasting solution to the rates of killings in some communities there. The President urged Governor Hyacinth Alia to set up a peace committee comprising former governors of the state, elders, traditional rulers, federal government officials, and non-indigents living in the state to help in peace management and ensure progressive governance.
We can turn this tragedy into economic prosperity. We can do it, and we will do it with you. We have to find solutions to this. What's the cause of the conflict? A lot of talking, Jesus, about land grabbing. But if we learn how to share and how to accommodate, we have enough land to feed, to raise our children, to cultivate happiness and prosperity. We must do it. We will change that attitude of hate.
The president wondered why and how the assailants were not arrested and directed security agencies to intensify surveillance to apprehend them.
How come no arrest has been made? I expect there should be arrests of those criminals.
President Tinubu was also in Kaduna, where he inaugurated the Institute of Vocational Training and Skills Development in Rigachuku Town in Ibadan local government area. 300-bed Bola Ahmed Tinubu Specialist Hospital, Millennium City, and 100 CNG buses. He commended Governor Obasanjo for maintaining the peace and said the federal government would ensure the construction of a light rail project to improve transportation in the state.
I've seen examples of people-oriented commitment, development agenda, and far-sightedness in the governor, who had established not only critical center to train and develop the mind of our youth, leaving schools, as well as providing them with skill and opportunity to excel. I am particularly impressed with the peaceful atmosphere prevailing in this state.
Prior to that, the president inaugurated some projects in Abuja, including the Greater Abuja Water Supply Network, where he pledged his administration's commitment to sustainable infrastructure. Last week, President Tinubu demanded a collective action to develop Africa. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, the president made the demand in Abuja while declaring open the 4th annual meeting of the Africa Sovereign Investors Forum, hosted by the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority. He urged relevant institutions to utilize the continent's sovereign wealth funds with sound financial discipline.
Our future lies not in working in silos, but in pursuing regional cooperation and collective ambition. Our sovereign wealth funds will become the anchors for Pan-African investment platforms that de-risk projects, standardize processes, and deliver sustainable outcomes at scale. This is not just strategy, this is necessity.
Also last week, President Tinubu reiterated his administration's resolve to deliver sustainable, inclusive infrastructure through deeper public-private sector partnership. While declaring open this year's Nigeria Public-Private Partnership Summit in Abuja, the president urged private sector partners to be focused and motivated, noting that Nigeria offers scale, demand, and returns like no other African market. He was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima.
We are not looking for investors to carry burdens, no. We are offering opportunities to create value. We seek long-term partners who are ready to help us bridge our infrastructure gap with purpose and precision. We need more than investment. We need innovation. We need efficiency. And above all, we need integrity. I ask you to look beyond the risk and recognize the immense opportunities to shape a nation that is not just rising, but ready to rise.
Last week, Nigeria and the Republic of Benin signed an agreement to deepen bilateral integration to serve as a model for broader regional cooperation within ECOWAS. The signing ceremony, which took place in Abuja at the inaugural West Africa Economic Summit, was witnessed by President Tinubu and his Benin counterpart, President Patrice Talon. At the opening of the summit, President Tinubu, who is the chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, urged member states to end transformation through vision, integration, policy coherence, collaboration, and capital alignment. He said rather than member states competing in isolation or relying on external partners, they must strengthen their regional value chains, invest in infrastructure, and coordinate their policies.
Intra-regional trade remains under 10%, a challenge you can no longer ignore. The low trade is not due to a failure of will, but a failure of coordination. The global economy will not wait for West Africa to get its act together. Our prosperity depends on regional supply chains, energy networks, and data frameworks. We must design them together or they will collapse separately.
President Tinubu also urged West African leaders to harness the region's youth population and abundant natural resources for economic transformation through industrialization, education, and innovation. During the week, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu said she would continue to pursue programs promoting health and education of girls and women. She stated this at the 13th anniversary and 7th MEC Foundation First Ladies Initiative Summit held in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. Senator Oluremi noted that empowering girls through education would play a crucial role in building stronger and healthier nations.
To date, 63 scholarships have been provided for our young Nigerian doctors in various critical and underserved specialties. Out of the 63 scholarships, 8 scholarships have been provided for fertility, embryology, and 1-year diploma and 2 years master's degree in sexual and reproductive care and women's health.
In her message on this year's World Refugee Day, the First Lady urged Nigerians to build inclusive communities where refugees and internally displaced persons would not just be welcomed, but truly embraced and supported. That's the size of this week's edition of State House Diary. Do join us next week for a fresh edition. I am Abdullah Bello.
Thank you, Abdullah. The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) has flagged off its maiden sports week as part of strategic efforts to promote staff wellness, unity and improved productivity across its departments nationwide. Speaking ahead of the week-long event, the Director of Corporate Services, Dr. Bex Agadinazu, also emphasized that the initiative was designed to boost employee morale, foster social interaction, and support mental and physical well-being. The chairman of the NCAA Sports Club, Alhaji Abdurazak Shawumi, explained that over 300 staff members from the 5 regional offices of the authority will be expected to participate in the event. And still on sports, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, promises massive renovation of the iconic IBB International Golf and Country Club in Abuja as Nigeria National League Super 8 playoff is to held in Asaba from July 5 to 12. Alabo Datore brings details in our sports package.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has pledged the FCT administration's commitment to an extensive renovation of the iconic IBB International Golf and Country Club in Abuja to restore the facility to international standard. Wike made the pledge when he visited the club and met with its newly appointed Board of Trustees led by the chairperson, Justice Monica Dongba-Mensem, who is also the president of the Court of Appeal. IBB Golf and Country Club, a significant landmark built approximately 3 decades ago in Abuja, was temporarily closed in April this year due to internal disagreements and to facilitate its much-needed renovation. Wike said the renovation of the clubhouse itself will be addressed first on an emergency basis, while other facilities, including the golf course, will follow in phases.
So they have to do so that anybody who comes to say yes, we are doing it and I do the international golf.
Earlier, the president of the Court of Appeal and chairperson Board of Trustees IBB International Golf and Country Club, Justice Monica Dongba-Mensem, expressed gratitude to the minister for his visit and for his commitment to the provision of infrastructure in the FCT, while acknowledging the efforts of the founding fathers and pioneer members in maintaining the facilities over 3 decades and grooming internationally well sought-after professionals. Justice Dongba-Mensem appealed for urgent support in revitalizing the club's infrastructure, which serves over 5,000 registered members, highlighting the need for specialized machinery beyond the club's financial capacity and emphasizing that government intervention will boost tourism and revenue generation, ultimately improving Nigeria's international standing.
We salute the founding fathers of their vision in initiating this great facility. We equally salute President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the government for taking all the steps to return this facility to its known international standard and prestige. And I dare say that an intensive intervention of this facility will also boost the economic drive of this nation.
Otumba Olusegun Runshewe, a member of the Board of Trustees, also commended the FCT minister's contribution to sports development and presented a symbolic gift to him in appreciation of his support. After a successful regular season, the board of the Nigerian National League (NNL) has announced that the Super 8 playoff will hold in Asaba, Delta State from July 5, 2025. Teams that qualified for the Super 8 are Warri Wolves, Osun United, Crown FC, Kon Khalifa FC of Owerri, Wiki Tories of Bauchi, Yobe Desert Stars, Doma FC of Gombe, and Barao FC of Kano. According to a statement by the second-tier league, the Delta State Governor Sheriff Oboriwori, in recognition of the progress made by the NNL in the country, gave approval for the Super 8 that will produce the eventual winner of the league and the 4 teams to be promoted to the Elite League to be played at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba. Meanwhile, Chairman of NNL, Mr. George Allo, has assured football lovers that there will be no dull moment throughout the duration of the Super 8. According to him, fans will be treated to the best form of football artistry, as all the 8 qualified teams have what it takes to qualify for the MPFL next season, just as a promise that the league board, in partnership with the host state, will ensure that all logistics will be put on ground for a successful hosting of the tournament. The Super Falcons of Nigeria to be departing Abuja this morning for their final training camp in Lisbon, Portugal. Tomorrow they face the Portuguese women's national team in a friendly and take on rivals Ghana in another test match next Sunday. Nigeria drawn in Group B with Tunisia, Botswana and Algeria in the 13th edition of the Women Africa Cup of Nations, due to hold in Morocco from July 5 to 26. Meanwhile, Nigeria will reignite another rivalry with Ghana when the Flying Eagles face off with the Black Meteors in Group A of the third edition of the West Africa Football Union B-20 Boys Cup that also has Benin Republic. The competition is built to start from July 10 to 23 in Accra, Ghana. Nigeria have won the most recent Jollof Derby as Super Eagles beat Ghana in the Unity Cup last month, just as the Flying Eagles defeated Ghana's under-20 team 2-1 in the final of last year's WAFU B tournament. Group B features Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Niger and Togo, all competing for a place in the semi-finals. Only the top 2 teams from each group will go through to the next stage. The WAFU B tournament will help Nigeria prepare for the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile, scheduled for September 27 to October 19. German side Borussia Dortmund held off a spirited comeback from South African champions Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa to secure a 4-3 victory on Saturday night and move closer to the FIFA Club World Cup knockout stages. I am Alambo. That's on you.
Next is the Spotlight, which is on the 4th African Union Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Forum. It is written by Temitola Adekunle Johnson, MFR, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Job Creation.
As Nigeria gets ready to host the 4th African Union AU Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Forum in Abuja this month, a quiet revolution is already rippling across the nation's entrepreneurial ecosystem. The 2025 edition of the AU MSME Forum, with the theme Building Resilient MSMEs Through Digital Innovation, Market Access and Affordable Financing for Africa, reflects African continental aspirations for economic self-reliance. As the host nation, Nigeria will roll out financial policy reforms for small businesses tagged the Presidential Syndicated De-Risk Fund, PSDF. The fund will be used to dismantle structural barriers in Nigeria's credit system, where interest rates of 28% to 30% have made loans practically inaccessible to the country's smallest businesses. This is just as the federal, state, and financial institutions will work to ensure that the loan facilities are made affordable and accessible. Under the plan, the federal government has structured a 74 billion naira loan fund with development partners like the Bank of Industry and Nexim Bank. MSMEs will be able to access loan packages ranging from 500,000 naira to 3 million at just 9% interest annually. Each loan will have a maximum tenure of 3 years with a 6-month moratorium on both principal and interest payments. State governments are expected to contribute at least 1 billion naira each to encourage commercial banks to match this with an additional 1 billion naira. Lagos State has already taken the lead by launching its own 10 billion naira de-risk fund at the same 9% interest rate. For decades, MSMEs in Nigeria, which constitute over 96% of all businesses and contribute nearly 48% of GDP, have been the bedrock of economic activities. Sadly, they have been largely excluded from formal credit systems. According to the National Bureau of Statistics and the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, Nigeria has over 40 million MSMEs, yet less than 5% of these businesses have never accessed formal financing. This initiative is only one component of a wider economic inclusion agenda of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Since assuming office in 2023, the Tinubu administration has unveiled a robust package of MSME-targeted reforms under the supervision of Vice President Kashim Shettima. The reforms are designed to make small business growth a national development priority. Among the most notable is the nationwide expansion of MSME hubs. Between May 2023 and May 2024, 10 of such hubs generated over 100,000 jobs within the MSME ecosystem. In the current fiscal year, the administration has doubled this with more hubs built between May 2024 and May 2025, and with a combined job creation potential of over 329,000. Nigeria currently chairs the African Continental Free Trade Area Negotiating Forum and has harmonized its digital trade and investment policies with the forum's objectives. This has enabled the creation of a technology export and digital trade desk, a one-stop shop for Nigerian entrepreneurs looking to export services and digital goods. Vice President Shettima has described Nigeria's strategy as constructing digital highways and bridges to carry MSMEs across borders into the heart of the African market. His emphasis on digital innovation echoes through other national programs such as the iDice initiative, a $617.7 million investment in digital and creative enterprises supported by the African Development Bank and the Islamic Development Bank. Another signature effort is the 3 million tech talent programs designed to equip young Nigerians with globally relevant digital skills in AI, coding, data science, and cybersecurity. Experts warn that the success of PSDF depends on transparent implementation and sustained political will. One concern is the capacity of local financial institutions to manage the risk loans effectively. President of the Nigerian Association of Small and Medium Enterprises, Dr. Abdurrashid Yerima, advised that the fund should be inclusive by supporting female-owned MSMEs. As Nigeria welcomes policymakers, investors, and entrepreneurs from across the continent to the AU MSME Forum in Abuja, it does so not just as a host, but as a trailblazer. With the PSDF, MSME hubs, digital trade alignment, and a whole of government commitment to economic inclusion, the Tinubu administration has articulated a Nigeria where small businesses no longer merely survive, but thrive.
That spotlight on the 4th African Union Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Forum was written by Temitola Adekunle Johnson, NFR, and read by Rachel Boala. And up next is Cyberscape, bringing you the trends shaping conversations across Nigeria's social media space. The online community is bowing after the EFCC arrested Dr. Nkong Aundona, special advisor to the Benue State Government on Documentation, Research and Planning. Aunduna is accused of luring female university students with promises of jobs while demanding sex in return, secretly recording their encounters, then threatening victims with leaked videos unless they complied. EFCC operators arrested him in Makurdi after numerous petitions from the victims. That brings to the end his saga. Meanwhile, actor Femi Branch is facing backlash after a viral clip surfaced showing him allegedly assaulting a crew member on a movie set. In the video, he's seen grabbing an assistant director and attempting to drive off, claiming he was. Despite the team's efforts to calm him, Femi refused to carry on with filming. Crew members then blocked his escape, demanding a public apology before allowing him to leave. He eventually complied and later issued an apology. But the incident has sparked a firestorm online, with many calling his behavior unprofessional and urging industry regulators to address on-set misconduct more firmly. Femi Branch taken from the screen to live. On X, F-35 jets are once again at the center of the global conversations. Iran has claimed it shot down an Israeli F-35 in recent airstrikes, a claim Israel staunchly denies. Adding fuel to the debate, a Royal Navy F-35B remains grounded in India after a hydraulic failure. The result? A wave of online discussion over whether the F-35 remains the gold standard or if its day in the sun might be coming to an end. That's a big question for the scientists. And in sports, Chelsea coach Enzo Maresca is under intense scrutiny following a 3-1 loss to Flamengo in the FIFA Club World Cup. His decision to tweak the formation mid-game and bench rising star Andres Santos sparked backlash, especially when star striker Nicholas Jackson was sent out shortly after coming on. Critics say Maresca's tactics strained the team's cohesion. Some fans are asking why keep Santos on the bench when everyone expected him to shine. And that's all for now. Stay connected with Radio Nigeria and join the conversation using hashtag Cyberscope for more updates. Cyberscope was compiled by Omolola Amin. And for newspaper headlines, we begin with the Punch newspaper. Ford offering. God doesn't share booty with crooks. Can slams profit for fame. NBC empowers youth for industrial leadership. Operators urge FG to mandate cocoa consumption. Analysts predict modest dividend payouts from banks in 2025. That takes us to the Sun newspaper. It has these. Filling stations adjust pumps as Dangote hikes ex-depot petrol price. Elimination of illegal roadblocks. Levies harmonization will improve economy. CITN. Alaba market traders consolidate alliance with APC, cites business interests. Break new grounds, DG, RMRDC, Bishop Mado charge youth. Daily Times, or Daily Trust rather, has these. Anambra to retrain drivers, blacklist violators for road safety. Tinubu to West Africa, invest in youth and raw exports. On the This Day newspaper, we have one online. Police are not debt collector. Lagos court rules a landmark 560,000 hair transaction case. And that's it on newspaper headlines, as compiled by Samuel Adeyinka. For weather forecast, isolated thunderstorms are expected during the afternoon and evening hours over parts of Gombe, Bauchi, Kano, Kebbi and Kaduna states. Chances of early morning thunderstorms with light rains are expected over parts of Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, the Federal Capital Territory, while the rest of the region is expected to be sunny with cloud patches. Cloudy skies with prospects of morning rains are expected over parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Enugu and Abia states. And afternoon hours, isolated thunderstorms with light to moderate rains are expected over parts of Imo, Ebonyi, Ogun, Oyo, Delta, Rivers, Cross River and Akwa Ibom states. And to end the news, here is a recap of the main points. President Bola Tinubu has called on the media to champion the narrative that reflects the democratic gains of the country. The Ondo State government has ratified the death penalty by hanging for individuals convicted of kidnapping. The federal government has tasked troops on peacekeeping missions to be good ambassadors. and Chorus and Radio Link have advocated prompt settlement of claims by insurance companies. That's the news, edited by Abubakar